Welcome back to AKHARA Study. Today we're diving into Chapter 1 of the West Bengal Board syllabus, Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice sits on a riverbank beside her sister on a hot day, feeling a lethargy so heavy that even the thought of making a daisy chain feels like too much effort. That boredom is broken when a visual anomaly enters her field of view. A white rabbit with pink eyes goes running right past her. Seeing a rabbit run by is mildly unusual, but what happens next upends her understanding of the natural world. The rabbit speaks. It then whips a gold pocket watch out of its waistcoat pocket, checks the time, and hurries on. Alice has never seen a rabbit wearing clothes, let alone keeping a schedule. Her journey begins the moment her burning intellectual curiosity overrides any sense of rational caution, propelling her across the field and down into the rabbit hole. Following the rabbit into the tunnel, Alice rounds a corner and suddenly drops, plunging into darkness before she has a single second to stop herself. Her descent is oddly slow. She floats down what appears to be an impossibly deep well, giving her time to observe her surroundings. The walls of this well are surprisingly domestic. They're lined with bookshelves, maps pegged to the walls, and wooden cupboards. She even pulls an empty jar of orange marmalade off a shelf as she drifts past. This diagram shows Alice grounding herself with schoolroom lessons. She calculates she's falling 4,000 miles straight through the Earth's center. She wonders if she'll emerge where people walk upside down, mistakenly calling them the antipathies instead of antipodes. With no end to the drop in sight, her internal monologue begins to loop in a sleepy rhythm. She asks herself over and over, do cats eat bats? Do bats eat cats? Because she can't answer either question, the logic behind them ceases to matter. This prolonged descent acts as a buffer zone where physical laws and rational thoughts dissolve, preparing her for the world at the bottom. Thump. The fall ends with Alice landing unharmed on a pile of dry leaves. She instantly spots the white rabbit and resumes the chase. She loses him around a corner and finds herself in a low-ceilinged hall illuminated by a row of hanging lamps. Doors line the entire perimeter of the hall, but as she walks down one side and up the other, she discovers a frustrating reality. Every single one is firmly locked. In the center of the room sits a solid glass table holding a tiny golden key, but the locks on the main doors are too large for it. It opens nothing. On her second lap around the room, she finds a low curtain concealing a door barely 15 inches high. The golden key slides into the lock perfectly, revealing a passage into a garden filled with bright flowers and cool fountains. However, Alice is far too large to fit through the frame. The hall acts as a trap, presenting her with a vision of paradise while physically denying her the proportions she needs to enter it. Alice returns to the glass table and finds a bottle that was not there before. Tied around its neck is a label with the words, "Drink me." Alice relies on her schoolroom logic to navigate this mystery. She remembers stories of children being burned or eaten because they ignored safety rules, so she carefully checks the bottle to ensure it isn't marked poison before taking a sip. Satisfied it's safe, she drinks. The potion has a sort of mixed flavor: cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast. The physical reaction is immediate. Alice shuts up like a telescope, shrinking until she is standing only 10 inches tall. She is now the right size to fit through the door, but her choice to drink the potion has created a new problem. She left the golden key on top of the glass table, now completely out of reach. She can see the key through the glass above her. She tries to climb one of the table legs, but exhausts herself in the attempt. The reality of her mistake sets in, and she sits on the floor and cries. To manage her panic, she scolds herself sharply, demanding that she stop crying this instant. Alice often pretends to be two people, carrying on internal dialogues to regulate her own behavior. This self-reprimand brings her focus back to her surroundings. Under the table, she spots a glass box containing a tiny cake with the words "Eat me" marked in currants. She decides to eat it. She takes a bite and waits to see if she will grow or shrink. When she remains the same size, she finds the experience dull and stupid. She has seen so much absurdity that she now expects out-of-the-way things to happen. Alice has shifted her baseline for reality. In this new subterranean world, the common and predictable feel boring, leaving her to actively chase the next transformation. Will the cake finally help Alice reach the key, or trigger a whole new disaster? To find out what happens next in her journey, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to AKHARA Study.